Hello and welcome to part 2 of No One Gets Out of Here Alive. My name is Holly Leon Hawke and I will be taking you on a gentle, sometimes humorous and sometimes challenging meander through the myths, beliefs and ideas around all things end of and after life. Each week you will get to hear what various people's random thoughts are on the big question: what is the meaning of life? If you would like to share your thoughts, please send your voice clips in to me via WhatsApp and I'll do my very best to include them. Also each week there will be a section called Give the Flowers Now, which was inspired by my darling maternal grandfather, Roderick George Balcombe, who would say, don't leave it until the funeral to send flowers. Send people flowers now, telling them what they mean to you and how they have touched your lives. And I would love to hear from you. So if you have some flowers that you would like to send someone, please send me your voice clip telling me who it is and how they have touched your lives, along with your name, email address, and the name and home address of the person you are sending your flowers to. For each person who is featured, I will send some beautiful flowers to that person on your behalf. In this series of podcasts, I will be chatting with a whole range of guests, from sound artists, willow weavers, through to end-of-life doulas, and people who have had near-death experiences to help give you a more holistic, rounded view. It just may be a few new possibilities of how the inevitable can be approached, because remember, no one, not even you, gets out of here alive. Emma and I were talking just before we came on. I was saying that my dad had a massive stroke recently, and all sorts of things have been happening. But one thing is that he did have a DNR in place, but that's it. I had spoken to him before about what his wishes were, and he said, if I go do lally or have to be looked after, just put me down. I don't want that. Sadly, that's exactly the position he's in now. And he didn't write anything down because he thought it was enough that he had a DNR. And I come across this again and again with families, is that they think a DNR is enough. It's not, is it?
No. It's not legally binding. B, it just covers do not resuscitate. It doesn't cover everything else that comes with being at end of life and what your wishes and preferences may be, from anything from being outside in nature, that may be your preference, to what you want to eat and drink, to what you want to hear and listen to. It covers so much more, and an end of life plan covers so much more than that.
Absolutely, and it's so the difference. So you've got currently the advanced decision, and then there's also the medical power of attorney, isn't there? Can you talk lasting? Yeah, that's it. Can you talk us through the differences between the two? Is there one that's better than the other, and does one cancel out the other?
Sure. Shall I go, Emma, or do you want to go?
Yes, everything I know about this I've learnt from Ali, so I'm happy for you to answer, Ali.
Me too.
So in an advanced decision to refuse treatment, often just called an advanced decision, that is solely about the medical interventions you wouldn't want at end of life. So that could be resuscitation, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, it could be mechanical ventilation, it could be being fed by a tube or a peg, all the things that may get in the way of allowing you to have a natural death and possibly prolonging life at the expense of quality of life. So that's what an advanced decision to refuse treatment does.
Is that legally binding, just to confirm?
It is legally binding.
Okay.
It is, if it's certain things are done, like it's witnessed and it's signed. So a lasting power of attorney, there's two types of lasting power of attorney, one for property and finance. So obviously an advanced decision to refuse treatment wouldn't be about how your financial and property affairs are managed. So it's different in that respect. There's also a lasting power of attorney for health and welfare, which again can cover everything that's in your advance decision to refuse treatment, but it can be wider than that as well. So you appoint an attorney or attorneys, and they can make decisions about where you're cared for, whether it's a care home or it's at home, the type of carers that may be in place. They can make decisions about where you go on holiday, who you see. So a lasting power of attorney is wider than an advance decision to refuse treatment. So some people have both. Yep. Some people just rely on their advance decision to refuse treatment because they know that the people around them will know what to do regarding health and welfare. So it's a very, very individual decision. And when we're supporting somebody to do their advance plan for end of life, we'll talk to them whether they just want just an advance decision to refuse treatment or whether they want an LPA as well.
It sounds like the lasting power of attorney gives away a lot of a person's control and power. Literally, that's what it is, isn't it? Power of attorney.
But only once they've lost mental capacity.
Yeah.
So if they have mental capacity, they can override anything that's in the LPA.
Yeah.
They're still the decision maker.
Yeah. And who can be that? Can it be anybody? Do they have to know that person? I mean, could a solicitor be an LPA?
Yeah, solicitor, a doctor could be. Normally somebody the individual's close to, so a family member or a friend.
Yeah.
But absolutely someone you trust, who you know will hold to your wishes and what you want 100%. And sometimes under difficult circumstances as well. If it's a health and welfare LPA, they may be making decisions about your care. Yeah, which may be difficult.
And what's it's talking about resuscitation, DNRs and things. Why there is a lot of talk, isn't there, around these, and why people would and wouldn't want them. Can you talk us through a little bit as to why somebody would have a DNR in place?
Emma, do you want to do that?
So CPR, part of the widespread misconception about it really is down to the media and particularly, soaps and films, which often like to show people having CPR and then sitting up talking, having a cup of tea 10 minutes later. When in reality, CPR is quite a brutal and very physical attempt to restart the heart. And many doctors and medical professionals, this is partly why it's been in the news, have been very open about how it's incredibly unlikely to be successful, especially for people who have underlying health conditions and are right at the end of life. And of course, when you think about it, your heart stopping is often part of a natural dying process. So not having a DNA CPR in place can be another way that life can be prolonged at the expense of quality of life, because even if it is successful, which is a very, very slim chance, the chances of you being brought back, so to speak, in the way that you were before are even smaller. People, you might get the heart restarted, but people might have brain damage, for example. And I feel strongly that, if people knew this, then they may well want to put that in place for them and feel empowered and say, I wouldn't want that to be my ending, because a lot of what we do comes back to this message that endings really matter, both for you as the individual, but also, I know I've told this story before, but one of the reasons I became so passionate about it was, as a home carer, I regularly spoke to clients that I was going to see who said, I would just love to go quickly in my bed, lying here looking at my garden out the window. And I didn't know then what I know now, but unfortunately a few of the people I used to see got their wish in a way, but then it was undone because paramedics were called and CPR was done, sometimes for over half an hour. And so the peaceful ending that they just achieved, that is what they were wanting, was gone at the last minute and ended up, in quite a brutal fashion. And it sounds horrible, and it's not a nice thing to think about, but thinking about it temporarily and having that conversation so that you can prevent that happening for yourself and your loved ones if they have to see that, I think is really important.
That's so
and
true.
like, as Emma said, paramedics are obliged, if called, to administer CPR. And then if your wish is to die at home after they've administered CPR, you are taken to hospital. So it's just...
But if you've got this advanced decision in place that they know about, then that won't happen.
No, it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen.
So how...
We sorry, Holly, we should just say as well that many paramedics also say, it really encourages documentation, say, we don't want to be doing this either.
Yeah.
We know it's not best it's not in the best interest. So
bless them. And they have to, which is heartbreaking for them. So how on earth do the paramedics know if somebody has got an advanced decision?
I'm only smiling because Emma's been talking about this to doulas for the past week. So she's got...
Oh, right. There's a number of ways. So I would say rule number one is tell people that you've got it. Tell your friends and your family and your doctor. If we're talking about an advanced decision to refuse treatment, that should have been lodged with your GP and put on your medical records anyway. There's things you can have around the house. Unfortunately, we really wish it was the case, but there isn't at the minute a standardised system across the UK. We really feel that there should be, but it varies in every area. So I would really recommend that people look up what is it the ambulance trust uses in your area to link up with your medical record. So you can get Lions boxes or message in a bottle. Ali's holding one up, but you won't be able to see that. But if you Google it, you get a little pot and a sticker to put on your front door. So the paramedics do generally recognise these, and if they see the sticker, they'll know that you've got this pot, and that should go in or on the fridge, as paramedics would look there for medication anyway. So you can put things like your DNA, CPR, and or your advanced decision to refuse treatment in there. Any other ways, Ali?
You said about making sure that you write to your GP with your advanced decision, so that you say, please put this on my medical records. Jewellery, did you mention jewellery as well? So that you can have, this isn't one, but you can have a pendant with reference that you've got an advanced decision to refuse treatment on it. And if you're going into hospital for whatever reason, we always recommend you take loads of copies with you, because you may be moving between different specialisms,
right,
so that you can give it to anybody involved in your healthcare. So like Emma said, there's no one central recording system across the UK. So unfortunately at the moment, I think the onus is on the individual to let as many people know as possible that they have one.
Do you know if there's anything that's in place to have a central database of people's... I mean, it's crazy, isn't it, in this day and age, that there isn't at the moment? Because literally, I mean, if you're saying you've basically got to have it anywhere and everywhere.
So there's Coordinate My Care in London, but it is called sort of Urgent Plan. I think they've just recently widened out. So it was a plan for the last year, if you were in the last year of your life, but I think they're just about to open that out so that there isn't that restriction. And then there's... Emma, help me.
I'm trying to think. I know all different areas. And I think partly this is the nature of the setup we have at the minute, maybe with CCGs, and I'm hoping with the move to integrated care systems, this might improve. But at the minute, it feels like every area has tried to do, the best job they possibly can. But of course, it's going to differ because people have different ideas. So, I do think we really do need a push to get it standardised, definitely.
Bring it all together. Yeah. So, when somebody has been given a terminal diagnosis and most people say they like to die at home or maybe a hospice. What things would you suggest to help them to be able to create a positive ending, which in turn creates a positive beginning for their family as well, doesn't it? So with the endings, you have beginnings. So, yeah.
I think the planning for end of life, talking about how you want to live until you die. What's important for you? What makes for a good day, a good week, a good month. So really talking about that and getting that down in writing so that everybody around you understands what that is. And I think that, okay, so people have birth plans, for example, and they don't always go, or they don't always turn out the way that you've planned for, but you've got more chance of it happening. And research shows that you've got more chance of getting what you want if you've thought about it, talked about it, let everybody know around you what it is you want. And yeah, and it's almost like a roadmap, that everybody can work towards as well. So, you've got your route.
So it's important for everybody involved, isn't it? The family as well. Emma, have you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, I suppose when you asked the question, my head, like Ali, went to the doula world, you know. But then, if I was to think a little bit broader than that, yes, the advanced planning and having the conversation and getting it documented is absolutely key. But having the conversation generally, talking. I mean, I'm from a psychology background, so I would preach this kind of thing anyway. But I think in terms of quality of life and meaning, really thinking about those big questions, or having someone, maybe a doula, but maybe loved ones or friends, talk you through these big questions. What really matters to me now? Like with this new information, with this new diagnosis, I know often people say to us, it's given me clarity. It's given me, I've mentioned before, someone once said to me that the world was more colourful now they had this diagnosis, and they could really see the things that gave them joy. And that isn't to say that it's a pleasant experience for everybody. Of course it's not, and there's no right or wrong way to take on that information. But regardless of your feelings in response to that, talking to people and thinking, what do I need to do now? Is there something important for me to finish, to tie up? Is there a legacy I want to leave? Is there anything I've left unsaid that I want to say to people? Because I think that gives you as a person a greater sense of well-being, and means you can die more peacefully in a mental sense. And it also gives back to the people you're leaving behind as well.
And Holly, you brought me up with a start, and we should know this stuff. We should know this stuff. When you introduced and said, like, it's supposing it was the last day of your life today. And I went, blimmin' hell, I should have had that thought yesterday. I should have had that thought yesterday. Because I think it brings you back into the day.
Yes.
That is so important as well.
It makes you feel alive, doesn't it? So okay, both of you, how would you feel if today turns midnight, that's it, lights out, it's over?
Whoa, I've got it all
How would you
cold.
feel? How would you feel?
I think, well, I like to think that I'm incredibly lucky, and I've started doing this from a very young age. In what you talked about earlier, I wouldn't say I'm a practicing Buddhist at all, but I very much love reading and relating to that kind of way of thinking. And I do often practice what you mentioned earlier, which is deathbed meditation, where you think, if I was sat next to myself at my deathbed, what wouldn't I have done, and what would I wished I'd have done? And I like to think that I live like that. So I know I definitely never leave anything unsaid. I don't even, and I learned this as a teenager, actually. One of my very close friends lost her mum when we were about 15, And from then on, I sort of promised myself I'd never ever go to bed without, like telling my mum I loved her, or if we'd had an argument, resolving it. And that's, as I've grown up, that's spread from that relationship into all my relationships. So I'm always very quick to resolve things or say things, or if someone's inspired me, to tell them, or, so I would like to think if this was my last day in a relationship sense, there wouldn't be anything I'd wished I'd said, because I hopefully have said it all. Of course, there would be things, because I'm so passionate and I've got so many projects on the go, I'd be disappointed that I hadn't finished those,
Yes.
seen where they'd gone. And I've got this in my advanced plan. Part of it involves, I've just got sort of a live online document that I update every, if something pops into my mind that I want to change, I just change it, and key people have access to that. And I know in there I've said, I hope you know that my approach to it, if I was to die tomorrow, would be a sort of shrug, like, oh, there's things I would have really liked to have done, but I'm happy with what I have done.
Wow. That's amazing.
Sorry, that was too much.
No, it's wonderful. It's wonderful that you are in that position, that you feel that, yes. And that's exactly it, actually, Emma. That's what I was thinking on the way here, is that, yeah, I'm okay. I feel okay about going, and hope to wherever it is. I like to think it's going to be somewhere nice, but the idea of leaving behind so many projects and ideas and experiences and things like that, I think that's something that's been really difficult for people, isn't it, over the last year, is that people who've had a terminal diagnosis within the last year, they haven't been able to live it in the way that they maybe would have chosen to had we not been through this. But Ali, how would you feel?
I'm a lot older than Emma. So I think I would love the opportunity to know, just give me 10 minutes. Could I just have a quick canter back over everything that's happened in the past, the good and the not so good?
Yeah.
Let me just go through the edited highlights. Yeah. Right. And then I can go, thank you very much for letting me have that chance just to have a little look back. I'm ready now to go over and look forward to whatever's happening next. So I suppose the honest answer is, if I knew today was the last day, I probably wouldn't do an awful lot more different from what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And I'd be perfectly okay.
Brilliant.
That this is the last day.
That's a perfect answer, Ali. If you're not going to do anything different, you're living the life that you want to be living.
Yeah.
And I was listening. I don't know if I'm sure you've come across Stephen Jenkinson, who wrote the book Die Wise. And I was listening to it the other day, and he was reflecting on how people have this real need in our society, in our sort of Western society, to always fill our time with various things to try and make it extra special and extra interesting and whatever, rather than actually just acknowledging each day. It's just a day. It's just an ordinary day. And that's okay. That's just who we are. It doesn't have to be anything extravagant and momentous, but it is the heart connections that we make, isn't it, with people, including ourselves. And I think that's something that's really important, is that people learn to love themselves, to be able to have a truly beautiful life. There was a gentleman, a beautiful gentleman who died recently, and I looked after him. And his legacy, he really struggled with mental health issues. He was a very quiet man, but he would help anyone and everyone. He would, people who were homeless, he'd bring home to his mum, get them showered, and then they'd go on their way again. And he would talk about that beautiful saying, if you haven't got something nice to say about someone, don't say anything at all. And so that's what we had at the funeral. And my goodness, what a beautiful, an amazingly gorgeous, humble man with such a powerful message. And I think, for everything, it is just the simplicity of the love we have for each other, isn't it?
I love that you said that. It's just made me think, and it sounds like I've rehearsed this. I haven't at all. But that dying is like, I'd love it to be just like the end of my day. The end of my day involves 3 Bs. They involve a biscuit, a box set, and a bath. It doesn't. So nothing very clever, nothing very magic, just very simple.
Yeah.
And that's the clues to my day.
Beautiful.
Oh, I'm getting quite careful.
Oh, that's lovely.
That is lovely. Look, guys, I could talk to you all day, all night, all day, all night. We still wouldn't have got through it all. But maybe I'll have you both back on it again at some later stage. But I think we've reached our hour. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Or so if somebody needs a doula or is interested, how do they find you?
So they can go onto the quickest way is probably go onto our website, and there is a contact us form. If you fill that in, that comes straight through to us, and we aim to answer them really promptly.
So Google End of Life Doula UK, and that'll take you to our website.
Wonderful. And is the phone line, is that 24 hours?
Yeah.
It is. So day or night, if somebody's struggling or needs a doula, give you a ring. That's marvellous. Absolutely amazing. Thank you both so very much for being with me today. And
thank you for having us.
Good luck with all the good work you're doing. It's just so needed and beautiful. So thank you.
Thank you.
Likewise, Holly. Thank you very much.
This week's Give the Flowers Now is dedicated to a lady called Beverly Fulliger. And Beverly is somebody who was in my life when I was an early teenager. I would say probably, I think around about 12 or 13. And I just want to thank you, Beverly, for being such an amazing presence in my life at that time, and for letting me ride your beautiful horses. So when I was younger, I used to have a horse called Fudge, who was everything to me. And he sadly died. And my mum, bless her heart, who was friends with Beverly, had a chat with her and knew that Beverly had ponies and asked if I could go and ride. So Beverly's ponies were called Lucy and Kerry. And Lucy was a little grey Welsh who was only about 13 hands high, I think. And beautiful, beautiful mare. And Beverly would let me go down and ride whenever I wanted, really. And she was always so incredibly supportive and would encourage me to go to shows. And we even went with Lucy, we did weddings with carts, with the traps and things, which was amazing fun. I got to experience so much with Beverly and filled my evenings and weekends with just horses, which was my absolute heaven. At one point went to Hickstead with one of her ponies, Kerry, where I managed to get a wasp down the back of my t-shirt, which stung me copious amounts of times, and I was jumping around in the back of the horse box, and everybody was outside laughing at me. They found it very funny, but they were all such special and precious times. And Beverly's friend Jenny, who had, he was the most beautiful horse, Duke, who was an Appaloosa. And I went on to ride him when I got too tall. I ended up being able to wrap my legs around Lucy's stomach. I got so tall. So, Beverly, I give you the flowers now. I want to thank you so much for entrusting me with riding your beautiful ponies, for supporting me, for driving me places, and just being there. Thank you so, so much, Beverly. So that's all for now, and I would like to say a very big thank you for being brave enough to dare to listen to a podcast that talks about something we, as a nation, tend to prefer. Doesn't exist, doesn't apply to our lives. But no, it does. No one gets out of here alive.